Hello friends, my name is Kalyani Umrani and last 6 months we have been interviewing a lot of inspiring personality from wellness and beauty sector. I own a salon and academy in India, Pune city since last 24 years. We are a recent CIDESCO school as well. I feel we all need motivation, guidance every day. And right now it's the need of the hour. We need to know how to go ahead. We need to know how to scale up. So it's my honor and privilege to introduce you to one more influential personality, Pamela Adkins, the Executive Educational Director, Takara International Aesthetic College, and a personality for a very dear personality for the entire CIDESCO family. I welcome you, Pamela, to this talk show. Your opening remarks.
Okay, thank you very much, Kalyani. I'm really happy to be here, and I've visited India several times as an examiner and also for the CIDESCO International Congress as well. So it's very nice to see everybody here online, and because I love your country and it's very exciting. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad. Now, let me introduce Pamela. She is a well-known personality in CIDESCO family due to her work, commitment towards growth and success of beauty industry. Pamela Adkins is the name that is so dear to all of us. Her journey with CIDESCO started in early 1992 as member of CIDESCO NIPPON, then an education committee chairman and 2 times elected as International Education Development Director of CIDESCO. She has worked really hard in getting CIDESCO Beauty Therapy curriculum in Japan. Let's hear from her. Welcome to the show again. So, Pamela, we would like to know how your journey started. Were you inclined towards beauty from the beginning or like how?
When I was at school, I was struggling a little bit to know what to do with a career, but I was always interested in travel. And one of my classmates was actually looking into become a beauty therapist. And she said, well, you can work on a cruise ship if you do this job. And I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. So then I started looking into beauty therapy and thought, well, yeah, this is something I might be interested in. I was always interested in makeup and my skin and everything anyway. And so that's how I looked into it. And so I went directly from school into a technical college to study beauty therapy.
Oh, lovely. So your formal and academic education itself started with beauty therapy?
Yes, I studied beauty therapy, hairdressing and wig making. I did a 3-year course, which was actually for people that wanted to work in TV to then get people ready for the TV dramas and so forth. But then the college told me that that would also be very suitable for people that wanted to work on the cruise ships, because the hairdressing salon and the aesthetics and spa, we usually combine. So if you could do both techniques, it might be helpful. So I thought, well, why not? I'll study hairdressing and wig making as well as beauty therapy.
Oh, that's lovely. So what made you travel from England all the way to Japan and now you're settled in Japan for so many years?
Yeah, well, when I qualified in 1983, I then worked in Cambridge, England for 3 years in a regular aesthetic salon because I knew I wanted to work on the cruise ship and I needed 3 years experience at that time. So then I worked on 8 different cruise ships for 5 years. And after that, I really wanted to get a little bit more settled, but I didn't feel like returning back to the UK. And so luckily enough, one of my colleagues was going out to Japan to teach in the aesthetic school that was just going to be set up. So this school was part of a large Japanese organization. They already had their own teaching, but for them, they felt that a European style of aesthetic college was a higher standard and higher, image for the Japanese. So they were opening up a branch of a British aesthetic college in Tokyo, Japan. So my friend was going out and then I did apply for a job and I received that position. And I originally came to Japan for 2 years contract, thinking I will just stay for 2 years and learn language and then I'll leave. And I had no idea what I would do. But I enjoyed living in Japan and I really loved teaching. And so I stayed and stayed, and I took over running the college after 4 years. And at that time, I realized we needed an international qualification, because in Japan, there were no really recognized international qualifications, but people wanted to have this. So I set about becoming the first accredited CIDESCO International College in Japan. So that took 4 years. And then in the year 2000, my school was one of the 5 that were then the first schools in Japan to become CIDESCO accredited.
Lovely, lovely. And how was the support from family when you planned to shift to Japan for all good? So,
They were not that happy, to be honest. They were quite happy with me working on the cruise ships, because my parents came on 2 cruises with me and thought this was fantastic life. You know, why would I want to leave? But as I wanted to have more structure in my life and be a little bit more settled. And I really enjoyed being in Japan. But for them, they just didn't really have a good impression about Japan. Well, not really that keen on me going. So initially my mother came out to visit me, and she had a great time and loved it, and went back and told my father. So then the next time they came together, and then he really enjoyed it. And he could see that I have a nice lifestyle here, that the company is looking after me very well. It's a very safe country, very organized, very orderly, as you've probably heard. And so then they really, really supported me and realized that I have a great life here, and have supported me making my career here.
that's great. Yeah, I think there's some struggle which takes you up. All right.
Yeah, it's not necessarily always easy, and people cannot always see that it's for the right reasons doing something. But after a while, hopefully they will see it from your position as well.
Why I wanted to ask you this question is because today's generation is something, they have a very different mindset. They will always compare their day one with the day 20th year of their teacher, and they'll say, I want to be like you immediately. So they should know the life stories of people like you know, how you
Yes.
started. And like every family has something yeah, or either a yes or a no to say when
Yeah.
you want to travel. So that's why I
Yeah,
wanted you to answer.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that, because a lot of my students, they say, I want to be like you. They say that, you know. And I said, but remember, I haven't always had this job. My first job, I had a motor scooter to get me to the train station. Then I took my bicycle on the train for an hour. Then I cycled for 2 miles to my salon. So it took me 2 hours, morning and night, so 4 hours a day.
Oh,
That was the job I could get, because I live in the countryside. I did that for 3 years so I could get the experience I needed to work on the cruise ships. So, you know, the first job may not be the perfect job. You know, you can't have this fantastic job in a 5-star hotel spa, something immediately. You have to learn that and go through the ranks. And it's worthwhile, because you learn so much through doing that. But yeah, I think the young people today do want to just
yeah.
go at a high level, but you do need to learn how businesses work, and it
Mm.
helps if you learn from the foundations up and can really see how to grow a business.
And this must be before 92, whatever you are saying.
Yes. Oh, yes, exactly. So I qualified in 1983. So
Oh,
then from 83 to 86, I was in England. And then 86 to 91, I was on the cruise ships. Yeah.
oh my God,
I
83.
came to Japan. Yeah.
Lovely. So how was the journey being an esthetician? Now you're working with a huge brand and so many multiple school. How did you develop yourself on each step?
To be honest, it really happened just gradually. It really, it happened without me thinking. I wasn't really thinking I was going to, take over more schools or anything.
Mhm.
I haven't taught before, so I had teacher training when I arrived in Japan. And I do believe that, you need to have enough knowledge before becoming a teacher. Having worked on the cruise ships and in salons, I had 8 years of a lot of experience with many different people. So I really knew my practical side. then of course you have to relearn all your theory because you've forgotten that after 8 years working in salons. So I had to go back and really study and be sure that I got that, really very secure, and then, come out to teach. And so, and I just enjoy teaching because you see students, some students are very weak and need a lot of help. Some are very good right from the beginning, and there's other ones in between.
Yeah.
And they will all grow throughout the time they're with you. Some, very quickly, some at a slower pace, and some great, and then they just drop off completely. So you have to be able to adapt to that. So that needs time. And I think you can't necessarily teach people how to be a good teacher in that way, how to deal with every type of student, because some people don't have the patience or the empathy, or they're not able to come up with different ways of teaching. So some of that is within yourself, I believe. I mean, you can teach some of it, but some of it is within yourself. So I just really enjoyed the journey I took with my students. And then when you see them, when they graduate, and they're also shocked, they can't believe they've come from hardly being able to touch the skin to being able to do a facial treatment, a wonderful body treatment, and then the comments they receive from the clients as well. So I think once you have that confidence and you get the feedback from the students, that really then sets you forward so you can branch out and build yourself. But I think I just took it one step at a time without thinking too much.
Yeah.
So
I was reading your CV, and I was like, I think first 15 minutes I'll have to introduce you because so many courses, so much of education, which what made you. So I think people, whoever are watching this success story, please understand this. Uh, in India, I don't know about Japan, but everybody who comes for a basic beauty course want to start an academy immediately. Yeah, they are like, I want to start an academy like you after advance or something. So we are like, first do the course, practice a lot, gain a good international qualification, again practice, coach one-on-one, create success stories, and then be a teacher. It's not that easy to be a teacher, as you
yeah,
rightly said.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And if you don't have the hands-on experience, I don't think you can be a good teacher. You really need to have done many, many, many facials in order to be able to teach about the skin analysis, and same with the body, everything. You need to have worked on all different kinds of clients, different ages and so forth, dealt with the clients, learned how the client care is. And so you get your regular customers to come back to you. So you learn your personality, you have your way of dealing with clients, or individual ways that they will return to you. And something you can impart to the students as well. And I don't think that if you've not worked in a salon for very long, you can do that as a teacher. I think you should have experience. And as you said, every year, basically, I would be trying to learn something new, trying to add to my qualifications, or just learn anything new, because sometimes it's very good as a teacher to put yourself on the other side and become a student again. And see someone else teach and see, something's good, something's maybe not so good, but you do always learn something from whatever course you take. So try and keep upgrading yourself by learning new techniques. There's always something new in our industry. So whatever direction you want to go in, there's endless courses you can do. You can go to trade shows, speak to people. I mean, networking is so important, to meet people and bounce ideas off of people to get there, because as a teacher, you have to find your subject interesting. If you don't find your subject interesting, then the students
Absolutely.
going to think the subject is interesting. And so that's why, if you can learn just a little bit of something new you can add into that lecture, great, you can keep your interest going. Yeah.
I think it's the horizontal exposure. It is not just one subject you learn makeup, but you should have an understanding of colors, trends, what the customer wants, and so much of consultation goes on. So I think beauty therapy, what people still feel is just, at least in India, they feel it's makeup and all beautification. but we have to learn so much about soft skills, about business management. So there's so much to do.
Yeah, exactly. Because now it's turning more into wellness in many countries. So it's again, it's not just skin deep. It's all about, giving nutritional advice, exercise advice, depending on your situation. So we do really need to have a full understanding in order to give, the correct advice. And our clients are also, they're getting a lot of information online, aren't they? So they're quite knowledgeable. So you have to have that good groundwork of knowledge and keep updating yourself so that you can, talk to the clients and give them all the feedback that they require. Yeah,
Yes, I think the youth who is watching this, client is more updated than you. Client knows more things than you. So it should not happen that you are like in a awestruck position when client asks you something. You need to be really updated.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you feel apart from learning is the biggest quality we need to have, as you said, and as we all believe, first to be a good teacher, you have to be a good student. So apart from learning, what else, what qualities you feel, Pam, one should have in their, in their personality to grow in their life?
As a teacher or a therapist or both?
Teacher or as a therapist, or to become successful in this field, or as you, I have seen you handling trade shows, you're part of one such a big company. Then I've seen you presenting lectures in CIDESCO congresses. So there's so much so many dimensions to one personality.
Yeah, I think, again, it's coming back to that confidence, because if you've got enough knowledge, then you can gradually grow your confidence. Because if I know when I first started as a therapist, and I didn't really know enough about the products, and I found it very difficult to sell products because I just wasn't knowledgeable enough about those products. I wasn't confident enough in them. I didn't really know if they worked or not. So once I'd worked with the brand longer and had more training and learned more, then it was easy, but it took me some time to actually get that. And I'm not really a great salesperson. That's not really my kind of thing, but still, with enough confidence, I could manage. So I think having the knowledge is the base, and then building up your own self-confidence, that will drive you forward, whether you're going to be an esthetician or spa therapist, or you're going to be teaching or training or presenting. Have a good, solid base of knowledge and feel secure that, yes, I know what I'm talking about. And then you can, and gradually, then you can improve your presentation and so forth. And of course, we can only grow so far, but we have to challenge ourselves.
True.
Of course, the first time I had to do a big demonstration outside of classroom, but in, a bigger stage somewhere in Japan, you're nervous.
Mm.
It's a panic, but
Yeah.
you have to make yourself do these things, and you can manage. You do it. The world doesn't end. You can do it. So yeah, sometimes I think you just have to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Lovely. So I think communication skill is important. Developing your own personality is important. And it all starts with your right knowledge of the subject. So you cannot
Mhm.
leave the subject and just do that. So people can easily make out whether you are just, blabbering or you really have a knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah.
How supportive is the Japanese government for salon businesses in Japan or towards the empowerment of women entrepreneurs?
I mean, actually, the Japanese government is improving towards women, I have to say. We're now getting more female politicians. Um, Japan is traditionally quite male oriented with their businesses, so it's very slow. So I have to say, for me, because I was a foreign woman coming in, I could probably get away with more than had it have been a Japanese lady.
Okay.
I could be the pushy foreign lady. I could do that. Whereas I have to say, I think had I been a Japanese lady, I wouldn't have been able to say the things I did at meetings and get away with things. So I think in a way, I was lucky that I was in Japan, that I could push the boundaries a little bit and say, I want to do this, or why not? Why not? Why? I was questioning a lot of things. But unfortunately, our industry, the aesthetics and spa industry, is not particularly well thought of in Japan. We still have, unfortunately, the slightly bad image of it related to the sex industry, which we're trying to pull away from. There's still no national license for estheticians as spa therapists.
Okay.
There is hairdressers, but nothing for aesthetics.
Okay.
So we have international qualifications like CIDESCO, which are now acknowledged by some salons and spas and hotels, but not actually by the government. So we've been pushing for this, and I'm hopeful it will happen, but it's still a struggle. So we cannot get any help really from the government there. So it's quite difficult, really. Yeah.
I think it's no different in India. It's still a little bit male dominant society. And as you said, when they see some foreigner talking about or pushing things to go ahead, I think then that works. So that worked for you there also. So some similar conditions in India as well. And I want to tell you all about Pam is she has attended more than 20 CIDESCO World Congresses till now. She has organized CIDESCO Congress in Kyoto, Japan in 2009. In 2013, she was awarded the very prestigious CIDESCO International Medaille de Merit. And she's also a trainer, silver medalist, World Skills Beauty Therapy. And this is like, wow, how do you manage so many avenues? This is so wonderful. And how is the feeling? How is the experience?
Well, it's been wonderful. I became a CIDESCO International Examiner in about 2003. And so, I've been very much, part of the family from early days, because I really find CIDESCO a wonderful qualification. And I was the chairman of CIDESCO section Japan for 8 years. So I really felt it was important to drive our business forward by having a really well-recognized global qualification. And so I worked very closely through being chairman of the section in Japan with the head office of CIDESCO for many years. So this is why I've had that close relationship. And of course, in Japan, we've managed to build up quite a number of CIDESCO accredited schools since 2000. And have a good standard here in Japan. So I'm very proud of that. And I still do a lot for the section here. I gave the lecture last Friday about an electrical treatment for them, for all the teachers. So I think, we're constantly trying to upgrade ourselves. So I was so happy to receive the prestigious Medal de Merit Award in 2013. That was the wonderful for the time that I've been working for CIDESCO. And of course, now I'm continuing to work as the board member for education. And we are driving CIDESCO forward because, of course, nowadays we have a changing world. We have different diplomas coming out. Different countries need different diplomas and different types of training procedures. So we are changing what we're offering. As you mentioned, I was the trainer for World Skills competition. And so, yeah, that's a very exciting competition for those candidates for beauty therapy. It's for under 23-year-olds, which actually in my college, I don't have many candidates that are under 23. So I've only ever entered one candidate, which was the silver medal winner. So that was very tough being a trainer for the World Skills. It's very tough. And when I see the real Olympics or any of those sports games and I think about the trainer, it's the trainer is giving so much of their time.
Their life for the coaching, for the player.
But yeah, and we never know what's going to happen on the day. On the day, you can't do anything. It's up to the competitor.
Yes.
And it was a very, very tough, but very, very worthwhile. But I mean, it's not easy at all. But it's not easy training we only had one competitor. I know countries have 2 or 3 and they train them all together and then have one at the end. We only had one. And so she's training on her own. So she can't, there's no comparison. So it's very difficult.
More difficult, yeah.
You can't see how good she is compared to anyone else.
Yeah.
So compared to a classroom situation, whereas normally you have a group of students together and they can see, oh, I'm not very good at this, or she's better than me, and they can compare themselves. Whereas for this, it was very individual. And for a youngster, Our candidate was only 19 years old, so she was young. So to do that, it was very tough. Yeah.
I think
So
maturity also matters
yes, yeah,
very much because
very,
we put our heart and soul into training them, and end of the day if they don't understand the importance of what they are representing, how much effort goes in training one candidate, the money, the effort, it's too much. And I think that's a very raw age or a very young age for
yeah,
these children to understand.
yeah, exactly, exactly. You know, and I think depending on the country, that age is different because in Japan, kids don't go to school until they're almost 7 years old, and
Oh,
they when they're 18.
okay.
Whereas, for example, in the UK, we go to school when we're about 5 years old, and you can finish when you're 16.
Oh.
And so beauty therapy, some people at 16 would learn beauty therapy for a year or two, then
Mhm.
they're working in the salon. So they've actually got many more years to practice before coming to the competition.
Oh,
So,
okay.
it's
I
it's
understand.
it's different, I believe, and the maturity is different as well, I think, depending on the country. So
It
yeah,
takes away a lot of years for the formal education and then to decide whether I want to be a beauty aesthetic person or what. So, yes, that's the challenging thing in India as well. It takes us
yeah,
at least 16 to 18 years for the formal education.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Pam, what do you feel India must do to promote CIDESCO education here in India? Should we
Well,
conduct any national level competitions or what is your suggestion?
well, I know you've done a great job in India. You've grown. You have so many new schools now. You've
Yes.
really expanded to different regions. I know there's a lot more regions than you have. You're a huge,
Yeah.
populous country, I understand. And I do believe that, of course, everything's slightly different. In India, makeup, for example, is huge in India,
Huge.
isn't
Yeah.
it? Well, it isn't so big in other countries. So I believe we can expand very much with the makeup. But I do know that now a lot of the girls and the guys would like to work overseas. And for that, it's fantastic to have a CIDESCO international qualification so that they can really, have the chance to work overseas on a cruise ship or in a hotel or whatever type of business that could be. So of course, yeah, if you can have some national competitions, I think that young people, not everyone, but some of them like that. And it does bring exposure because obviously at the competition, you can get press, you can have videos, you can have live shows and show, have a mini world skills competition,
Yeah.
just very simple. It could just be makeup, just a face, just a body, just something small, but that in itself in small regions could really help. And then of course have your national one as well, which is it's something I believe in the UK, and quite a lot of countries do these competitions, and we do something similar in Japan as well. So I think that's great to get people aware that, oh, this is not just something I can do in my local town. I can do this anywhere, really. So I think, to have that exposure and say, no, CIDESCO is global. It's an international qualification. So it's going to take you that one step much further than if you just get, a national qualification.
That's lovely. All right. I have read in yours the information what you sent to me that you worked really hard in letting people know about what is CIDESCO, how to start schools in Japan, and you did a lot of hard work behind. Can you explain like how you did it and how we could inculcate the same thing in India and get more people to have schools and more people going to CIDESCO?
So we, with our CIDESCO section, then we did have regional meetings. We went to different areas and then said anybody that's interested in becoming a school, come to the meeting where we'd explain what CIDESCO is, and we'd explain the whole procedure of becoming a CIDESCO school. We'd have the application forms for them, we'd show them photos, and we'd explain the kind of treatments they should be doing and the processing for that. Because especially in Japan, because everything's in English, even though the translated everything, of course, into Japanese, it was still a little bit overwhelming, the process of application. So we gave all of that information to them. So this really helped by going to many different regions and getting exposure, getting some press to come along. We also always have a booth at our trade shows in different regions. And then usually I would give a demonstration, a lecture and demonstration. So it's usually me because obviously I look different. And so it's a bit more interesting for in Japan to have somebody foreign than having a Japanese face. So that they tended to ask me to come along. And because again, people could see that we were really an authentic global organization. You know, unfortunately, there are some organizations that are not really global. So we would be, you know, really promoting that, you know, by having the booth, you know, then and meeting people and having the lecture and demonstration. So that also helps. If you, I know you do have some beauty shows in various regions as well.
Okay, nice. So, your thoughts on how spa beauty can be the real career for new generation?
So I think, yeah, I mean, nowadays there are so many different career paths that people can take in the beauty and spa business. You know, it's totally different to when I qualified, you know, 36 years ago. You know, I only thought about becoming a beauty therapist and maybe owning my own salon. That was about it, you know. But now, I mean, of course, yes, you could be running a salon, you could run a spa, you can be a trainer for a product company, you can work on a cruise ship, you can, yes, you can open your own academy when you've got experience, or you can go into makeup, become a makeup artist, work in a department store. You can study more holistic therapies, the spa therapies. I know you've got Ayurvedic specialists that probably then specialize in the spa therapies and so forth. So they can be on the more holistic side of things, or aromatherapy as well, again. And I believe this wellness side is also going to grow, especially after the pandemic at the moment. I think people are thinking much more about the health, and they will look more into holistic therapy. So this is already, you have that in India with Ayurveda, and you have that huge interest and the beautiful spas and so forth. So I think that could be a huge area as well. Have your own spa business, have your own product company. There's so many career pathways that you can take, but I think by having a good foundation education, you know, you really need that. I think that's important to have that as a base and then keep learning. But then, you know, you can then decide which direction you want to go in. If you just narrow yourself, if you only open the door so far at the beginning, it's difficult in the future. But at the beginning, you've got a good, you know, knowledge of the, you know, the groundwork of everything. Then from that, you can go in many different directions, because, you know, maybe if you're a woman, you get married and have children. So what you want to do will change because of that. Or maybe you don't get married. So, you know, the pathway doesn't always go the way you expect it to go. So I think if you leave yourselves many options, then this industry is a great industry. And especially for India, it's only going to grow, I can see, in all areas.
Great. Yeah. India is like a real CIDESCO hub now.
Yes, for sure.
So, any plans of CIDESCO in coming years to promote education across the globe? Uh, as you said, nutrition or cosmetic manufacturing, cosmetology. So, any plans in the new curriculum, because there are beautiful new modules which are really nice, which people can start. The facial module is amazing for people who want to just give a try to CIDESCO, and then they can excel. So, is
Yes.
CIDESCO thinking about anything?
Yes, at the moment we're working on specialized, more advanced units. So they will be coming out in the next few months. So I cannot tell you yet about those
All
in
right.
detail, but they will be, so they will be great for people that already have the CIDESCO diploma or have other training as well. So they can really step up. So these are more for, yeah, as I said, advanced therapy. So people really do need a good foundation for that, of course, before going on to use these advanced machines and modalities. So they really need that knowledge to step up. They're very important for CIDESCO globally, because of course we've got so many schools already that are already all doing the beauty therapy diploma. And so there are, thousands of these graduates out there. So we want to give them a chance to come back and upgrade themselves, which we've never had before. So we really want to do that to begin with. And then we are going to look at other units in the future as well. So a lot of exciting things to come in the future for CIDESCO. So, but we're really happy at the growth in India, and we're really listening to what you're asking for in India, because we know that you will have a lot of schools.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. And coming from you is like something really great. So everybody who's watching this, she is an expert in education, and you're getting the message directly from an educationalist that first create a good foundation of education, go step by step. Don't jump to a conclusion. I want to be a makeup artist. I want to be a cosmetologist. I want to be a nail artist. Just keep going, keep moving. Don't stop. I think learning and being a lifelong learner is the key to the success. And I'm going to post Pam's entire CV down in this YouTube link so that you know what personality she is and what all she has done to reach this position. And it's so kind of you, Pam, to be part of this talk show and inspiring millions of Indians who will be watching your interview on YouTube and other channels. So I thank you and I wish you a great success. Keep looking so beautiful, blessed, and charming as always.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time today, and wishing you all the very best for the future.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam.